So in this video, I'm going to cover 4 problems, 2 from lesson 11 on practice problems 2 and 5, and then lesson 12, practice problems 2 and 6. If you would go ahead and complete those 4 problems and then turn the video back on, and then we'll go through those. Alright, so problem number 2 is asking the question, a point P says stays the same distance when it is reflected over line L. What can you conclude about point P? So if I place point P here, and if I reflect over the line, it's going to be somewhere over here, so that means point P is moved. And they're asking to place point P at a location so that when you do the reflection of it, it will not move. So hopefully you concluded that point P has to be on the line. Otherwise, point P will be moving from one side of the line to the other side of the line. So point P must be on the line. In problem 5, they're asking you to come up with a transformation or sequence of transformations that will take one triangle onto the other, and then where will point D be placed at? So this is one way of doing it. So you may have a different sequence, but the question is over here on the left when you're writing your answer, did you provide the critical information within your description of the sequence? So anytime I'm looking at taking a shape to another shape, I generally start with transformation first. Not always, but quite often you'll find that my sequence is transformation is the first step. So I'm going to translate the shape going from point A to point A prime. So that's going to be my vector. So I'm going to slide this shape to here. And then from there, since point A and point A prime are at the same location, then all I need to do is rotate the shape. And so in the rotation, you have to describe the point you're rotating around, which would be A prime. You have to describe which direction you're rotating. In this case, I'm going to rotate clockwise. And then you have to indicate when you're going to stop the rotation. So generally, especially if you don't have grid paper, I'm going to take this point here, C, and I want it to fall on top of C prime. So I am going to rotate the paper until point C falls onto or lines up with C prime. At that point, then I have completed the rotation. So step 1 is translate triangle ABC using vector A to A prime. So this is what when you talk about translation, you need to talk about where you're sliding to, and from what point. So we'll call that a vector. And in step 2, we're going to rotate around A prime. That's the point where we're sliding the shape to, is A prime. So we're going to rotate triangle ABC around point A prime clockwise until point C aligns or matches up with point C prime. So in rotation, we've got to talk about what point are you rotating around, what direction you're going, and then when do you stop. And so if you don't have an angle measurement, what I will be looking for is what point are you focused in on, and to what place are you going to take that point to. So we took C to C prime. And then problem 3, we are doing a translation using the vector. So you're not going to be allowed to use patty paper on your test. So no patty paper. So you're going to have to come up with a way of doing the problem without patty paper. So usually with translation, especially when you're given a grid, we count, like slope. So I'm going to be going 2 this direction and then 1 this direction. So all the points get moved over 2, down 1. So point B over 2 and then down 1, this is where B prime is. Over 2, down 1, this is where C prime will be. Then over 2, down 1, this will be where D prime is. And then over 2, and then down 1, this is where A prime will be. So that would be the translation of quadrilateral ABCD using vector V. And again, in class we actually slid shapes using vectors. It's been a while, so it's kind of a reminder. So there's the shape, and the vector begins here and goes all the way to here. So if I slide that shape along vector V until I get to the other point, and the shape here lines up with the shape that I just drew. So yours should be the same. All right, and then the last problem. So problem number 6. You're going to find in problem 6 there's probably not going to be a lot of much difference in terms of steps. So I want to move this triangle. And again, generally when I'm doing transformations, I generally start with a translation first. So I'm going to slide this triangle from point A to A prime. And then I'm going to rotate around A prime, and again I'm going to go clockwise again, and I'm going to keep going until point, say B falls onto B prime, or C falls onto C prime. So that tells me kind of where that's where I'm going to stop. So it's almost identical directions to the first one we did. So step 1 is translate triangle ABC using vector A prime. You could also use vector B prime, so you could go from B to B prime or C to C prime. And then step 2 is rotate triangle ABC around A prime clockwise until point C aligns with point C prime. So for translation, again, vector is important. For rotation, around what point are you rotating, what direction you're rotating, and when do you stop. All right, so for the remaining problems for lesson 11 and 12, these are practice problems. If you go to your Canvas page and click on modules and go down to today's date, you will find a link for Unit 1 Lesson 11 practice problems and Unit 1 Lesson 12 practice problems. You're completing the rest of those problems and submitting your answers by Wednesday of this week.